Hello everybody, this is Duck7 with another video. This time we are playing blue-white affinity list with Urza, Ingenious Smith, and the new card from Pyrexia will be one, Unctus Grand Meta Tact. So this card says other artifact creatures you control get +1/+1. And other blue creatures you control have when this creature becomes tapped, draw a card, then discard a card. And until end of turn, for if you pay 2 life or 1 blue mana, target creature becomes a blue artifact creature. So it gets a +1 buff, and it also gets a loot ability whenever it taps. We are playing 4 Springfield Drum and 4 Moonsnare prototype in a deck that can very easily let us tap our creatures and do the loot ability to get the lands and the unusable cards out of our hand and the good cards in, which can be pretty good when you're trying to find that Nettlecist, Thought Monitor, Urza, or some strong card in the steel game. And Unctus has been the best of 3 cards from the new set. I also tried a new Malcator guy. In this slot, Malcator was okay, but still significantly weaker to Nettlecist and not doing anything else, but just putting some power on the field, which Nettlecist does, I think, the best in this deck. Nothing can put more power on the field as Nettlecist. Nettlecist is often uh, very large on a turn. It stacks for the first time, and it's just a very aggressive 3-drop in this deck. And this deck often will play 3-drops on turn 2 because it plays 8 of these 1 mana accelerants and also 6 of 0 mana creatures. When you combine these two, that lets you cast the 3-drops on the turn 2, which can be pretty good, or even making a token of the Urza Saga on turn 2, which is also very strong. Okay, so Malcator was obviously decent in this slot, but sometimes hard to trigger on turn it enters, and also hard to trigger in the late game where you have no or low one cards in hand. So it just didn't Malcator just didn't work in this kind of deck. I think it has to be some more controlish and slower variant which will play some cards that enable consistently playing 3 artifacts in the same turn. So it just didn't work out, but it was okay. I can't say it was bad, it was okay, but I would probably play with the Malcatorian deck, I would probably play 4 Nettlecysts and 1 Malcator as additional 3 mana threat, because it brings power to the table decently, and even if it doesn't do the end step ability on turn it enters, it still gets the 4 power on the field with the ability to get more in the future. So it's not really it's a really decent choice. Okay, so other than that, we have a Skell. I think 1 mana white artifact creature, very similar to Giver of Runes. I think this creature would be a good fit in this deck, but there are already a lot of 1-drops, and the deck is kind of weak to engineered explosives. That's why we play Pitting Needle on the sideboard, and luckily a very low amount of decks play Hiretsugu Consume Soul. It's basically the only weakness this deck has is probably Hiretsugu Consume Soul. In games you don't have Urza or a large Smith or whatever. Just Hiretsugu can be very strong, but only Domain Zoo plays it and some scam lists, so it's really not card play that much. You don't have to fear that card. and I was able to win even through some of these hate in the past, like engineered explosives, killing four, five, six permanents and similar. And it's doable. It's doable when you have a good hand. You just have a good hand. It's very hard to stop the deck from winning. It can really do some powerful stuff in the early turns. And the Unctus is additional card that also can bring a lot of power on the field, but it's adding another thing to the deck. It's letting you have that better mid-game grind where you're not drawing cards, but just replacing bad ones with good ones in your hand. And good cards we have like Ingenious Smith, Urza, Tot Monitor generate incredible value, and Urza can win games by itself with his ability for 5 mana. We can often play it 2-3 times per turn, get a lot of free cards from our library. Also, Tot Monitor 1 mana, drawing 2 cards. It's also incredible value. So, Unctus getting us closer to drawing those cards in some stale matchups will definitely win games. And that was the idea behind the Unctus. And Unctus, unfortunately, I didn't draw him that much. I just played 10 matches. I finished 9-1, so demolished all opponents, only lost to Mr. Richard, opponent who's playing Hammer Time. It was very close game 3. We both had the nut hand. It was pretty incredible, but he was on the play, so his was better. So that was it. And we'll now go through the games, and we'll watch the last game first because that was one of the games where Unctus really shined. It was really good, so I want to watch that game first and to see what was my idea behind including Unctus in this list. It's not just another nettle cyst, not slight feels like it has its own purpose and just helping beat us the control matchups, mid-range matchups, just getting closer to those important cards in our deck that can just single-handedly win a lot of the games. And that's it. So this is version I played a lot in the past. I think I trophied. I only. Oh, this is always my flex spot in this deck. I always play the same list without these two, three, four cards. I played 30 Memnite before. I play more now because I have more 3 drops, and the Memnite just feels good right now. Helps you being more aggressive with Moonsnare Prototype and Springleaf Drum. So I think I like this variant pretty good, and these are the flex slots, of course. And Unctus was very good, and I didn't try a Skelv yet, but I think Skelv could be a decent option. It's like a giver of runes, but it's artifact, so it's much better, much more useful in this deck. It provides affinity for Tot Monitor, which is very important spell in this deck, and you always try to be able to cast Tot Monitor on turn 3 in ideal situation. And Skelv is a card that gets you protection. Your big creatures like Urza, Ingenious Smith, your Nettlefish tokens, Construct tokens, give them protection from the color so they can attack true blockers, maybe, stuff like that. So it's pretty decent option, but for this video we will now watch the Unctus, and Unctus was also decent option, and I just didn't get to test him that much because in 10 matches I played, it's around, let's say, 25 games. In 25 games I probably just cast him maybe like 4 or 5 times, so it is not enough to assess the card. but we'll start from the last match where it was really good, so you'll have a chance to see it in action. And so let's comment on on the other cards in the Main board. This is, in my opinion, the most aggressive version of Blue-White Affinity I know of, and it's my favorite version. As I said, I trophied with this list in the past for 4 or 5 times. Just don't play it that much at the same time. So the new set got a few good cards for this list. As I said, Malkator felt good as I think it would be decent to one off as addition to the fourth Nettlecyst as a fifth 3 drop, just another aggressive creature you can play on often on turn 2. And that's it. Okay. Unctus, it is for this video. And on we have some typical stuff you see in this blue-white lists. Ingenious Myth, Urza, Tot Monitor, Portable Hole, Sentinel, some one-off artifacts. I think this Moonsnare prototype is very, very underplayed card in this archetype. People don't play this card for unknown reasons. It's basically Mox Opal. So it works as a Mox Opal, just uh, only not on your turn 1, but on a turn 2, it's Mox Opal. Okay, so well, it's unfortunately it's also not colored mana, but yeah, pretty similar. Okay, so you'll always have like artifact on turn 2. You can tap either a creature or a portable hole or some other or things like Shadow Spear, Ether Spell Bomb, stuff like that. So it always happens that you have that option available if needed. And it's a great card. It helps you being aggressive as possible, but also playing some value cards that gives you good mid game, late game. Of course, Monitor, Urza, Ingenious Myth, and Nettlecyst just help being very aggressive. And we'll just see on the sideboard usual stuff: Dispatch, Rebuke, Skydiver, Seize, few more copies of Relic, Pitting Needle, especially for Engineered Explosives, and Yagmoth, and two Teferi Time Revelers. Teferi Time Reveler is very good here because you can often cast him on turn 2. Surprise your opponent. It's good against the Cascade. Um and that's it. Okay, let's go for these games and check them out. Okay, we'll start. Yeah, I think this was the last game. Okay, this was the last game I played with this deck. Okay, so game 1 playing on the draw, keeping mediocre hand. But decent. I saw that it was Kahira, so I assumed it is control matchup. I didn't play Memnet first. I wanted to trigger the Smith with it. They had a counter spell, so it's okay. Not much going on at the moment. But of course, if I can resolve my monitor, things will be a lot better. In case I just go for I really want to resolve monitor, as I said, so I just go for the equip Memnite and play portable hole because it's useless in this matchup. It doesn't do anything. So I can cast a monitor and I draw into Moonsnare prototype, which immediately gives me 1 mana and 1 affinity to be able to cast a monitor in the same turn. And this was my best and I think only draw that enables that. So I drew Unctus here. I played a drum first to be able to cast monitor for 1 mana. and I play. I maybe should have just played the land first and then to tap the monitor to get the ability. But yeah, I kind of was thinking about maybe discarding land if necessary, so I didn't do it. As I got the loot ability from Unctus, it was really helpful here. Just pumping my team, also pumping the Esper Sentinel is of course pretty decent. Playing Unctus again, my opponent really didn't like him on the field, so they decide to counter this. I go for Equip Memnite, of course kill the Teferi, big Teferi as soon as possible, and now feeling a lot better about this game. My opponent also has Jace, but uses Jace to bounce Memnite, which is pretty bad. That's what they decide though, so bounce Memnite with Jace, it's pretty cool, pretty cool. I find another Unctus. Unctus pretty good here, so you see that I'm just able to make my non-blue creatures blue creatures, and uh, then loot as much as I want. I kind of misplayed here. I didn't. It was better to play Memnite and Drum here, obviously because I got two loot abilities, kind of wasted, but. Uh, I, but my opponent concedes anyway, so that's it. Uh, that was game one. Unctus was really good. I draw both of my Unctus, and they were really good in this matchup. It's really good against the Cascade. It's good threat, pumping other threats, pumping the Sentinel, which is very important. And this is just unwinnable for this deck. I think 3 years of Sagas. Sure, they can deal with one, they can probably deal with two, but I doubt that they can deal with three. Just their counterspells are useless in this situation mostly. They will hold mana, but they won't do anything with their mana. So they're kind of forced to do something, but really doing something is feels bad for them. So, like in this situation, they are forced to do something. They let me draw a card from the Sentinel, so I get the card, and I get to play the Teferi because they're forced to tap, and I just bounce the ley line, force them to give me another card with Prismatic Ending, and still have my Teferi on the field, which feels pretty good. I find my Pitting Needle, play second Needle, play some of my cards. I dose them. Don't want to play too much into the Supreme Verdict. Play as much as I need in this situation to be able to pressure the fairy well and have enough artifacts to easily cast my monitor. Okay, they counter the Sentinel, so I had the opportunity maybe to resolve something, but they were just on 3 cards in hand, and I had another Saga, Nettled Cyst, 2 monitors, so I definitely wasn't in a hurry. I just wanted to make my constructs here, kill their Teferi to make sure they don't have a verdict that's going to be played as an instant. As I play my top monitors, I don't care as much about killing those because I get to draw two in the process. So I just go for the attack. Go for the attack to no verdict, luckily just a solitude. So I drew another monitor and I cast another smith, and my opponent is overwhelmed and they concede. So that was it. Okay, so this was we'll go from the last games towards new ones, and we'll see all the 9 matches. Okay, so keeping a decent hand, a lot of cheap artifacts, and Earth Saga. So trying to make big construct tokens early that can be pretty powerful in a lot of situations. My opponent goes for Totsis, only have a prototype at this point. Nothing else to discard here. Here's a Saga, very good against discard decks, obviously, so I stay back because of Ragavan Dash and stuff like that. Um, I get lands, so I don't need to play the Saga right now. I'm able to attack with Memnite, make a construct token end of their turn. It was Jund. They played Run, bring back land, but I had the 3-3 token, which was in a bolt range. Okay, so I get a relic, and now my monitor is 1 mana, so I can play the monitor. Draw 2 cards, get Urza in my hand always feels great. I don't care about Ren that much in this situation. I have 2 creatures dealing lethal next turn, and my opponent doesn't have a solution, and they concede. That was it. Okay, so game 2. Game 2 in this match. Pretty good hand. I have a Springly Drum on turn 1 and have 2 0 mana creatures to be able to get mana off it to make a turn 2 Urza Saga token. I didn't want to play the Memnite into the Brennan 6, so I just leave it for my turn. I just play my Ornithopter to be able to cast to make a Construct token, then try to kill the Vren on their turn. Okay, so it was the Junt Creativity, not the regular Junt. I wasn't sure what it was after the first game. I got another token here, got the relic from Progenitus, exiled the Goblin Shaman token, then killed the Wren. Killed the Wren. I just my opponent, it's a creativity. I didn't really realize before it was creativity. And my opponent had Brotherhood's End. Brotherhood's End, obviously, a very good card, but as you can see, I got a good board state, resolved a very good board state. After the creativity, I just need 1 card to get back into the game, but my opponent has the creativity, and of course, that's the end of the game. So I concede, we go to game 3. In the game 3, again, a very aggressive hand. Springleaf Drum into Memnite, into Nettlecyst. I make a misplay here, so you never play Memnite when when you're planning on going 3 mana on turn 2 in this situation, because your Memnite will die, and then you won't be able to produce the mana with it to play the Nettlecyst. This is exactly what happened. In this situation, I played too quickly. Uh, didn't think about it for a second and just automatically cast my Memnite, and but luckily I wasn't punished because I immediately drew another Memnite from the top, so I was able to play my Saga and the Nettlecyst same turn. So I didn't play Saga on first turn because I had the Nettlecyst play available. So and I just had a very good draw here with Rebuke. And I didn't really care for Renan 6 that much because I have very good clock on the field. One token here, making another one also pretty huge, so very close to lethal. My opponent plays Bitter Union, discards the Archon, but I guess even if they have something like Bolt, they can't do anything with it because my creatures are now large. And yeah, that's it. So they just concede. That's more than enough to win this game. And that's it. Okay, so that was the match against my creativity opponent. We'll now check third match of this league. Again, playing second. Again, having the Springleaf Drum Mem Knight, which enables playing 3 drop on turn 2, or even better, the Urza Saga. So it's not just that you can play Nettletist on turn 2. If you have Urza Saga, you can also make constructs early. I was able to play a lot more of these early artifacts, which means that on turn 2, this is basically my turn 2 play. I get to make a 7/7 token attacking on turn 3 for even more. So I get another 9/9 token. I play the Shadow Spear and attack for a 10 while holding blue mana for Ether Spell Bomb in case they play Titan and find Volakut or something. So uh, it's pretty aggressive hand. So I have a turn 4 kill on the draw while also holding the one bounce spell on the field and another one in hand. Okay, so they only had one card in hand at this point, two Dryads on the field available to make another token. As I do the equip, play my portable hole just to grow these tokens, and I realized I had to leave one Memnite back. Yeah, but I didn't realize that if I just realized that wouldn't have mana for Spellbomb Bounce, so that I didn't have another solution. So I think bouncing the token was best before blocks because that way they can't use they can't. There's no way for them to block my Memnite with other Dryad and have one Dryad survive for the next turn. So that will be very dangerous. So this was the best option to make them able to make them have to jump with. Don't give them the choice. You make them jump with both Dryads. They lose both Dryads. They only have one card in hand. So there's low chance of them being able to do anything, especially in the situation where I gained 11 life. So that was it. Okay, that was a very aggressive hand against my Amulet Titan opponent. Of course, I can't be that quick every game, but I had decent hand here. Of course, spreading seas can be very good against Titan. It can be useless. In this situation, it was mostly useless. So it's only good if they have the Urza Saga. If they don't have the Urza Saga, you will probably play this on a bounce land. But they will bounce that bounce land to their hand, and this will just go to the graveyard. So that's what happens in most situations. So but still a decent option to have in mind as okay, they do the typical stuff, amulet into Azusa, play a bunch of lands. I didn't have the Urza Saga this game, so a lot more slower. They play the Titan, on same turn of I'm not sure if I die this exact turn. I think yeah they also had the double strike or something, so I die on the same turn, so I just concede. That was it. And game 3, my plan was again try to be aggressive as possible, board in the rebuke, and try to hope to draw my board in the dispatch. I hope to draw. I get to exile their amulet with my portable hole, very good card in matchup. Now I get to play hold the rebuke um, while also being able to make token if they don't do anything relevant. They make two amulets in this situation. I let them resolve the grazer. I really want to make my token. If possible, I need to have some kind of tempo on the field. They play Titan. I have the rebuke, so I'm forced to use it here. I can play another Urza Saga. Play the Sentinel, pass the turn. They they play the Pact. Make a lot of mana here with the two amulets. They have mana to play the Titan, or they go for the haste land. But in response, I had a dispatch and a springleaf drum to play it. More than enough number of artifacts. So in this situation, I just dispatched the Titan, and they weren't able to play to pay for the Pact on their upkeep. So that was the game. That was it. Okay, so that was the final match. Okay, let's now see another game. Again, playing second. So I think I played second all of the games in this trophy league. A pretty incredible league. Just consistently had a crazy amount of these brutal hands. With the Springleaf Drum, Mem Knight, and turn 3, turn 2 playing 3 drop, turn 3 playing 4 drop. Very aggressive, very strong 3 drops, and these early spells really help a lot. Yeah, the Vren is pretty annoying against this deck because we play Memlite, we play Sentinel, we can mostly grow Ingenious Smith. My opponent is unfortunately playing Colligan's Command too. They played the version of Jant Saga. Jant Saga is pretty good deck at the moment, but people underestimate it always. But this exact version of Jant Saga played Colligan's Command in the main, which is pretty bad. Uh, it's some weird version playing Bloodbraid Elf. I didn't see this version before. Uh, really wanted to hold the portable hole in hand in case for the card that they get with Earth Saga, or maybe large construct token, something like that. There was no point in playing it on the Ragavan with so many creatures on the field. Okay, so my opponent just passed the turn. I start with just Ingenious Smith, find the Darksteel Citadel, I trigger all my Smiths, and equip with Shadow Spear the biggest one. And just pass the turn in this situation. Didn't want to trade for the Ragavan and Elf. if they choose to, of course. They get to play. And they got the Vren back, which is pretty annoying. Vren then got the Urza Saga back, so definitely the way for them to win this game. I went for Nettle Cyst, trigger all the Sentinels, and my opponent had a very good grind plan, but this Nettle Cyst probably sealed the deal here. I was able to get the 12 damage through with the lifelink and trample. So even if my opponent uh, has chance to kill the Nettlecyst, next turn I'm able to still play the portable hole, grow all of my smiths, and still have the lifelink trample on the biggest one. So still threatening with lethal, of course. And I had a portable hole before combat to maybe kill a blocker or something. That was it. Yeah, okay. Um, Not as aggressive as some of the previous games, but still pretty good for this matchup. Grindy hand. Smith's definitely done a good job. Okay, so unfortunately I drew into huge number of lands this game, but still able to win anyway. Started off fine with Smith, but Drew already had a hand with a lot of lands, but drew into two more. I didn't want to risk playing 1-1 Smith not being able to grow him, so I didn't play this turn. Waiting another turn. I had a Nettle Sister here to be able to pressure this Ren, because Ren is already on was already on 5, but they decide to ping here to be able to hit my token. Okay, so I had the opportunity to find to just play the Shadow Spear here, make this token. They play the explosives part the turn, and I definitely wanted to make sure, definitely wanted to make another token to be sure that they will break these explosives, but I forgot I play needle, so they kind of had to do this anyway. But yeah, it was okay. I named the pitting needle, named the Vren with my pitting needle, played the Ingenious Smith, got relic from the top. It's a pretty good situation. Of course, it would be bad, not so good if they had the procedure, but they had to draw it. If they had it, they will probably already play it, so I wasn't too worried about that. They had the Colgan's command, so it wasn't important. I discarded the land in the process, but if my Smith was 2-2, they would still be able to deal 2 damage to Smith and kill the artifact, so it really didn't matter. I can also just take him to. Sorry, let's just see what else happened here. I wasn't really able to crack this relic because uh, Saga is still on stacks, not in graveyard, so there's no point in cracking it. Of course, there is a point of uh, making a Goif smaller, but I liked a better option as just bouncing the Goif with Spellbomb and making token. On my turn, got another construct, got the drum. So now I'm able to play the monitor for 1 mana, which is always great. Play the artifact name to pump my guys. This Nettletist is always a problem for this Junt type decks. and I had all things necessary to win the next game. So now question is only, does my opponent have the hate needed to win this or not? Okay, so I get the portable hole. I do the Nettles equip on the monitor, and that's it. My opponent concedes. So that was game two against Trigger Lord. Okay, so this is I think this is the last match of this first league, 5-0 league, but we will watch more matches from the league before that that ended up 4-1. So total 9-1 with this exact list. I played I played before um, with variant using Malcator. I still have to test the skill, but I really can say that I liked the Unctus better than the Malcator, and the Malcator is just a worse Nettlecist, while uh, while the Unctus has a completely different and a new ability, and it's pumping your guys, Memnites, Ornithopters, uh, any other creature. You can make it a blue artifact for 2 life or 1 blue mana. And again, you can see Amulet Titan opponent and just how effective this turn 2 Nettlecist or Construct Toga can be in this matchup. Had a good hand here. I go for the Amulet, play the Thought Monitor, get more lands on the field, and attack. I just wanted to get rid of the amulet here so they can't do any crazy stuff. Now I was able to play my Urza, and when I played the Urza, opponent conceded. It was too much for them. They didn't have the amulet, so even if they had the Titan for the next turn, it wouldn't do much. It would just sit there on the sideboard and not doing much. So that's it. Okay. Sorry. We'll now see game two of this match. Another Amulet Titan opponent, very popular deck at the moment. Okay, so keeping a one lander here, bit risky, but I'm on the play and I'm on the draw. Sorry, I have a Spreading Seas, turn 2, Espel Sentinel, kind of hoping to give me the card here. I really need to get that land. So first draw, didn't get it, and I just really needed it here to be able uh, play the Spreading Seas on the Urza Saga. Did get it, and this was a critical. Really needed this to be able to stay in the game. Unfortunately, didn't have any tempo on the field. Okay, they just paid the tax, Sentinel tax, played the amulet. I played my Urza Saga, played the Nettlecist. Okay, so in this situation, I was able to make a token here, but I think just Playing Portable Hole on Amulet, it feels better. Also, attacking immediately for 5 with Sentinel means I get a very good clock on the field, while also drawing card for any non-creature spell they play. And they kind of have to play something to be able to get back into the game. So I just it has an athletics here. I just decide to play out a lot of my stuff. I There's no chance for lethal this turn, so I just play most of stuff I can and prepare to win next turn. My opponent didn't have a solution for this, so that was it. That was it. That was game two, and as I said, the entire league of this 5 league, and this was another 4-1 league, so 9-1 run. Just one loss to Mr. Richard playing the Hammer Time. Pretty cool game. Very close on game three. They were on the play. Had a uh, pretty nuts hand, and I also had a pretty good one. But as he was on the play, his was slightly better. So that's it. I'm getting a bit tired. It's late, so I think I'll just show maybe this match and wrap it up. So I draw the card end of turn 4. I really needed that land, so I just wanted to draw a card there. I played the Esper Sentinel, and it's the another Amulet Titan. Oh yeah, so a lot of these Amulet Titans, definitely in the league. Mm, I had the Unctus here. And obviously it could be pretty good. It pumped my entire team, helped me attack with for 5 additional damage. It provided 5 additional damage. If I had more cards in hand, I could also use his ability to loot 3 times, which would be pretty good. And with Springleaf Jumps and Moonsnare prototypes, it's very easy to tap your creatures immediately on the turn it enters, get some value, and even of course you will always have some attackers in this version. And pumping your small guys like Ornithopter, Memnite, Sentinel, it's pretty good, especially Sentinel. Pumping Sentinel is pretty crazy. Your opponent can't pay that much tax, so it can definitely win your game against control. And the looting and the Sentinel tax pumping and stuff like that, so pretty cool. Okay, so another Titan game. I think these Titan matchups are a lot draw dependent. I have a pretty good hand here. Again, Unctus. I'm glad I showed this game because again we can see the potential of Unctus in this game. If it's not if it's some other matchup, then Unctus would have a real possibility here to do a very good job. If this was some mid-range matchup, I would get to now draw a card from the turn, then draw a card from the turn, then loot 1 time with Memnite, play my monitor, draw 2 cards from monitor, then tap monitor, again do the loot from the Unctus. So if this was some normal matchup and not the matchup that just deck that just wins on turn 3 with 4 Amulet of Figures, I would be able to do stuff like that, but Unctus just didn't have time to shine in this match. If I was on the play, I would still get to loot at least 2 cards and probably more. So pretty good card. Really satisfied with him. It showed me better than Marketor, and I still didn't test the skill, but I have a feeling I need a 3 drop more than another 1 drop here. So I think Unctus is the best of 3 and the best option for this type of deck. Very aggressive deck, already having enough threats and just needing additional nice threat that dodges the bolt. By the way, it pumps the entire team, pumps the Sentinel, and gives this deck another way to win the game, and it's just by crazy amount of looting towards that card you need to end the game. And cards in this deck are very effective in ending the game, like Urza, multiple thought monitors, stuff like that. Genie Smith, finding monitors, and all these cards are pretty very strong and good threats. Also, Netasist can equip on creature like Ornithopter, Thought Monitor, and win on the same turn out of nowhere. And that's it. Okay, so I concede here, and we'll just watch the last game against Titan. I was able to win. You will see, so third game against Amulet Titan, you will see how I was able to win so much games against the Titan, which is considered now as a top tier deck. Okay, so spreading seas it's best when they have the Urza Saga, but kind of in this situation had to play it. I didn't have other good plays. I just wanted to draw a card. It's really not that important to have it if they don't have the Urza Saga. I had to play my Nettlecyst that didn't have the tempo. Nothing really large to. Really need to start attacking here. So my opponent is just on 2 cards at this moment, and I have the Rebuke in hand. So my opponent finally gets 6 mana to cast the Titan. No amulet on the field, and uh, I'm able to cast my Rebuke. Get another turn of attacking. Unfortunately, my opponent has the Force Figure, has the Dryad, and I just have a bunch of lands in hand and not doing much. I did find another Urza Saga, so we were now both on 0 cards, not doing anything, but I kind of had better draws. They find a Valakut, so it's not easy for me in this situation. Each Volakut each land does damage, kills creatures, does damage to face. But good thing is I now have a lot of these construct tokens attacking, which means they have to find a solution for this. And they did find another Force of Vigor. Force of Vigor is pretty good, but too many of construct tokens and the Nettlecist means they didn't find answer next turn and immediately lose, and that was it. Okay, so I'm too tired to show this second league to the end, so I'll just stop here. I think Unctus is very interesting card for this deck, giving it another dimension, another ability, which can be very effective in right matchups. And Malkator just didn't. It was okay. Once I got on turn 2, I got 2 3G tokens. It was pretty crazy, but even then, it was just. I counted it would be better if I just cast the Nettlecist. I would be able, because my opponent cast Murktide on next turn, so I was unable to attack. And if I had the Nettlecist instead, it would be larger than Murktide, and I would be easily be able to attack through their early Murktide. And Unctus just does a different thing, gets us the ability to loot. The loot can be really strong here, and I think Unctus has its place in this kind of lists. And I hope you like the list. It's the most, I think, the most aggressive possible version of the blue-white affinity, and one of the most fun. I don't know what is more fun in this list than making turn two large construct token or playing large Nettletist on turn two, and also Urza on turn three consistently. Just being able to do this on turn two, three, it's just very fun for me, and I think it's very strong. If you follow that in the mid game by one Metallic Rebuke, one Dispatch, one a good spell like the Fairy, Unctus, finding those spells, you will win the game. And that's it. Okay, this is it for this time. 9-1 run with this incredible list, with addition of a new card, a very cool one from the Pyrexial will be one set, and that's it. Okay, goodbye. If you want to support the channel, click subscribe, click like, and that's it for now. Bye.